Chant and dance as much as possible in this human form of life.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Gurave Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः आनन्दलीलामय विग्रहाय हेमावदिव्य छवि सुन्दराय तस्मै महाप्रेम रसप्रदाय चैतन्य चन्द्राय नमो नमस्ते चैतन्य चन्द्राय नमो नमस्ते चैतन्य चन्द्राय नमो नमस्ते. Hare Krishna. So I welcome all the devotees back for our second and the last session, final session on the glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the meditation on Sri Gaur Leela, and we will be continuing from the point where we left off yesterday, describing the glories of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu and Sri Nityananda Prabhu. For a person who has no food, all he wants is food. For a person who has no water, for a person who is thirsty, he needs water. For a person who has no clothes, all he wants is clothes. For a person who has no house, all he wants is clothes. And likewise, for a devotee, all that the devotee wants is Hari Katha and Hari Kirtan. This is the Jaiva Dharma, the Nitya Dharma of the soul to eternally chant and hear about the glories of the Supreme Lord. Kaviraj Goswami says, Shraddha Shabde Vishwas Kahe Sudrida Nishchay Krishna Bhakti Koile Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. Kaviraj Goswami defines what is Shraddha, what is faith. Faith means hearing and chanting about Krishna eternally, without stop. Kaviraj Goswami says that is the fundamental definition of faith or bhakti. To constantly keep hearing, constantly keep chanting, constantly keep remembering about the Supreme Lord. So it's such an opportune moment in all our lives that we have all assembled together to hear and chant about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In another 15 days' time, we would be celebrating the most auspicious occasion of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. And then in the month of March, in 1 month's time from now, we would be celebrating the most auspicious occasion of the appearance day of Parama Dayala Prema Purushottam Sachinandan Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So keeping that theme as the center of our discussion, we will begin. We will make a very humble attempt to speak something. To speak something of this world is very difficult. To get on a stage and speak in front of 100, 150, 200 people, to speak about those things that we can see around, we find it difficult. So how difficult it is to speak about those things which we can't even perceive through material vision. But if devotees kindly pray and offer their best wishes, then as they say, Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim. Even a person who cannot speak will be empowered to speak, and even a person who cannot walk will cross the mountain. Srila Rupa Goswami, who is the fountainhead of our Gaudiya Sampradaya, in a book called as Padyavali, he quotes a very beautiful verse. Srila Rupa Goswami says, Aho, aho, bir, nakaler vidhuyate, Sudha Sudharam Madhuram Pade Pade Dine Dine Chan Dana Chandra Shitale Yesho Yashoda Tanayasya Giyate. Rupa Goswami quotes this verse in Padyavali, and this is such a beautiful verse. It's actually like a riddle. So he says, Aho, aho, bir, na kaler viduyate. He says there is a sun, S-U-N. There is a sun by the name Kali. And this sun of Kali is so strong that it's tormenting everyone. So much so that this sun is burning everyone, in the sense that the life expectancy is low, the lifespan reduces, intelligence reduces, memory reduces, beauty reduces, ojas, bal, tejas, everything in this age only decreases. As we were discussing yesterday, the beautiful example that Srila Radhanath Maharaj gives of the traffic signal. This is that age where everything decreases in this age. But Rupa Goswami says, Aho, aho bir nakaler viduyate. He says, there is one person who is not affected by this sun. Everyone around gets affected by this sun of Kali, but there is one person who doesn't get affected. So now this is like a riddle. In the second line, he says, Sudha Sudharam Madhuram Pade Pade. In every step, that person experiences only happiness. Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipadam Purnamrita Swadanam. Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipadam. In every step, that person only experiences eternal bliss, eternal joy, and eternal happiness. So he's not burnt, he's not tormented by the sun of Kali. In every step, he's experiencing only happiness. Dine Dine Chandana Chandra Shitale, so much so that he is decorated by the moonbeams. It's almost as if he's under the cooling shade of a million moons. So now there's a big statement Rupa Goswami is saying. He's saying that the whole world gets tormented by the anxiety, stress, depression, lamentation of Kali. But there is one person who is of this age but is not affected by this age. He is not affected by the sun of Kali. In every step, he experiences only happiness, and he is decorated by the cooling moonbeams of mercy. Who is that person who is getting so much benefit? In the last line, Srila Rupa Goswami answers by saying, Yasho Yashoda Tanayasya Kiyate. That person who eternally sings about the glories, the Yasha, about the son of Maya Yashoda, that is Sri Krishna. That person who eternally sings about the glories of Sri Krishna, that person who eternally sings about the glories of the son of Mother Sachi, that is Nimai, our Gauranga Mahaprabhu. For that person, the son of Kali doesn't act. He always experiences happiness at every step, and so much so that he is cool under the moonbeams of mercy. So it's a very big statement that Rupa Goswami is saying, that anyone who sings and chants about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Kali doesn't act on that person. So there is so much at stake for all of us by discussing the glories and pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So with this theme, I would request all devotees to kindly pray for me so that I may speak some favorable words in the glorification of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo. So dear devotees, let us start our discussion from Vaikunta, where Vaikuntapati Mahavishnu is present. And as we know, Mahavishnu is so opulent. There are verses after verses in the Vedas that describe the bodily beauty, that describe the opulence of Mahavishnu. Sashanka Chakram, Sakirita Kundalam, Sapita Vastram. So many verses are there that describe the most exalted bodily beauty of Mahavishnu. But in Vaikunta, there is only one ras, there is only one transcendental mellow that exists. That is Dasya ras. There is no Sakhi ras, there is no Vatsalya ras. We can never imagine keeping our hand on the shoulder of Mahavishnu and talking to him. That ras doesn't exist in Vaikunta. The only ras that exists is Dasya. And it's so beautiful that the opulence of Mahavishnu is so much that people stand for 7 to 8 hours in Tirupati. For 7 to 8 hours, they stand in the line just to take few seconds of darshan of Mahavishnu. Just to take few seconds of darshan to beautify their eyes, to get their eyes purified by looking at Mahavishnu. They're ready to stand for 7, 8, 10 hours. And this we see, this happens every day in Tirupati for 365 days. And when they come in front of Mahavishnu, naturally, the only thing that comes out from the lips when we see Mahavishnu is Govinda, Govinda. Everyone chants the name of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna in the form of Govinda when they see Vaikuntapati, Mahavishnu. But our Mahavishnu, he had a thought. He was thinking to himself, in Vaikunta, the only ras that is there is Dasya ras. Everyone comes to me only with this mood of servant and master. I am their master and they are the servant. But how I wish I can experience Vatsalya Prem. How I wish I can become a fatherly figure where I have a child who plays on my lap, whom I can spend time with, whom I can talk to. Because you see, as far as Mahavishnu is concerned, Mahavishnu doesn't get this benefit. He doesn't get this saubhagya of being the father, of experiencing Vatsalya ras. So Mahavishnu was thinking to himself, how I wish I become a father and I also have a child. So to fulfill the own desire, the Supreme Lord came down as Narsinghadev. When he came down as Narsinghadev, dear devotees, this desire of Narsinghadev was fulfilled in the form of he being like a fatherly figure and Prahlad being the son. Satyam vidhatum nijabhritya bhashitam vyaptem cha bhuteshu akhileshu chatmana adrishyatamad bhutarupamudvahan sthambe sabhayam namrigam namanusham. Kaviraj Goswami Shukadev Goswami in the Bhagavatam in the 7th canto quotes this very fantastic verse. He says, Narsinghadev came out from a pillar. Namrigam namanusham. It was a form not human and not that of an animal, half man and half lion. And when Narsinghadev came out from the pillar, Hiranyakashipu's vision was so polluted that even when the Lord came in front of him, he could not see the Lord. While Prahlad could see the Lord even in places where the Lord doesn't exist. Well, actually, the Lord exists everywhere. There is no place where the Lord doesn't exist. But we don't go and worship a pillar. It's a general understanding that pillar is something that we don't worship. We worship the deities, but not the pillar. So in that sense, Prahlad was so exalted that he was able to see the Lord even in places where the Lord doesn't exist. While on the flip side, Hiranyakashipu could not see the Lord even when the Lord was standing in front of him. Dear devotees, these are two visions in this world. To see the Lord even in places where he doesn't exist, and to not see the Lord when he is there present in front of us. And this is our predicament. We see the deities in front of us in the form of Radha Raman, Radha Vallabh, Radha Gopi Jana Vallabh, Radha Shyam Sundar, Radha Madhav, and Radha Gopinath, and so many other deities around the world. But still, somewhere inside our heart, we have a doubt whether Krishna exists, whether Krishna is actually present here. This is Hiranyakashipu mentality. Hiranyakashipu, even after seeing the Lord, was not convinced that the Lord is present. While Prahlad's vision is so purified, Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena, his vision is so purified that when the Lord appeared in front of him, even though he was just 5, he was convinced for the fact that Lord is present. So these are two visions. So when Narsinghadev appeared, as we know, he ripped apart Hiranyakashipu. And then finally, when Narsinghadev made himself comfortable on the royal asan, when he sat on the throne, no one had the strength and courage to go in front of Narsinghadev, but it was only Prahlad Maharaj. Even Lakshmi was afraid to go in front of this form of Nrsingadev. But Prahlad Maharaj was so fearless. He went straight ahead to garland Nrsingadev. In that time, Nrsingadev looked at Prahlad Maharaj and said, "Aren't you afraid? Even Lakshmi doesn't come ahead. Even Brahma is not ready to come ahead. And you are just a 5-year-old child. Aren't you afraid seeing this form of mine?" So when Prahlad Maharaj heard this, interestingly at that time Prahlad was sitting on the lap of Nrsingadev. When Prahlad Maharaj heard this, Prahlad said that, "My dear Lord, a cub is never afraid of the lion. The deer is afraid of the lion. My dear devotees, they are like the deer. So they are afraid seeing the lion-like form of yours. But my dear Lord, I am the cub. And the cub is never ever afraid to see its own mother or to see its own father." Which means Prahlad Maharaj was making the point, my dear Lord, in whatever, whichever, however form you take, I will always recognize you as a supreme personality of Godhead. This is the vision of Prahlad Maharaj. So when Nrsingadev appeared, Nrsingadev, after hearing this, was so satisfied that like a lion, he was licking Prahlad Maharaj. And Prahlad Maharaj was completely perplexed. He was thinking to himself, what is Nrsingadev doing? Because you see, lions, that's how they express their love. They lick their cub. So the Supreme Lord, as Nrsingadev, was licking Prahlad Maharaj, and he was so happy because the desire that Mahavishnu had to experience Vatsalya Prem was fulfilled in Narsingha avatar, where Prahlad was sitting on his lap and Nrsingadev, as the fatherly figure, was licking him. But now, after this pastime was done, Nrsingadev developed one more desire. Nrsingadev thought to himself, I have experienced Vatsalya from the standpoint of being the father, but now I want to experience Vatsalya from the standpoint of being the son. I want to sit on my father's lap. I also want to have a father, and I want to sit on his lap. I want to hear bedtime stories. I also want to have a father. So Nrsingadev was thinking to himself that how I wish that I have a father where I can experience Vatsalya Ras from the standpoint of a son. And dear devotees, to fulfill this desire of Nrsingadev, the Supreme Lord comes down as Maryada Purushottam Ramachandra. When the Supreme Lord came down as Maryada Purushottam Ramachandra, he would sit on the lap of Dasharath Maharaj. So the desire that Nrsingadev had in his heart got fulfilled in the pastimes of Sri Ram, where he could sit on the lap of Dasharath Nandan, he could sit on the lap of Maharaj Dasharath, and he could hear bedtime stories. He had a fatherly figure. So that desire that he had got fulfilled in the pastimes of Sri Ram. But now, this desire got fulfilled, but now Maryada Purushottam Ramchandra developed two more desires. So you see, Mahavishnu developed one desire. He came as Nrsinga. Nrsinga develops one desire. He comes as Ram. Ram fulfills a desire, and now he develops two desires. What are the two desires? The first one, Ram was thinking to himself, I have no friends. I have Vibhishan, I have Hanuman, but they are still in the mode of dasya. I have no friends with whom I can sit and eat, with whom I can play, with whom I can discuss where to go and how to steal and how to plunder. I have no friends with whom I can sit and talk who are on the equal status as that of mine. So this was the first desire that Ramchandra developed in his heart. And the second desire, the sages of Dandakaranya. The sages of Dandakaranya, when they saw Maryada Purushottam Ramchandra, they had the desire to marry Sri Ram. But at that time when Ram heard, he said, I have Ekapatni Vrata. I am already married to Sita Maya. So I am sorry, I cannot get married to any one of y'all. But the sages had a very strong desire. They pleaded and beseeched the Lord that, my dear Lord, this will be the success of our tapasya. This will be the success of our bhajan. We want to have Madhurya Ras with you. We want to marry you. So dear devotees, Ramchandra develops two desires, that is to have Sakhya ras and to experience Madhurya ras. And to fulfill these two desires, Sri Ram comes down as Sri Krishna. Ramachandra comes down as Krishna Chandra in Dwapar Yuga. And when he comes down as Krishna Chandra, both these desires get fulfilled. In the form of Krishna, first has friends. And those friends who don't consider Krishna to be great, Sridham, Madhumangal, Subal, Stoka Krishna, they considered Krishna to be on the equal status. Sak ashuddha sakhya kare skanda arohan, tumi kon bada lok tumi amisham. The friends look at Krishna and says, Tumi kon bada lok? What kind of big person are you? Tumi amisham. Krishna, we are equals. Don't think you're someone very great. We are equals. And this is exactly that Krishna wanted to hear. This was like nectar to Krishna's ear. And these friends were so dear to Sri Krishna. They would sit and eat. They would sometimes eat with right hand. They would eat with left hand. They would put a flour inside Krishna's mouth. They would tell them that they are giving gulab jamun, but they would stuff of flour inside Krishna's mouth. They would sit on Krishna's chest. They would punch him. They would defeat him in hide and seek. And Krishna loved this because as Ramchandra, his heart was yearning to have Sakhya pastimes. So when he came down as Krishna, this desire got fulfilled. And dear devotees, all the sages of Dandakaranya reappeared as the queens of Dwaraka whom Krishna married. All the sages who wanted to have Madhurya relationship with the Supreme Lord, they appeared as the queens, and Krishna married all the 16,000 queens. So the next time someone doubts the character of Sri Krishna, well, we have to understand that there is a past history to it. It is the sages who wanted to marry, and Krishna is just fulfilling that desire. So Mahavishnu develops one desire, he comes down as Narsingha. Narsingha develops one desire, he comes as Ram. Ram fulfills that desire and develops two desires, he comes as Sri Krishna. Krishna fulfills that desire, but now Sri Krishna develops three desires. So if you see, it's going from 1 to 2 to 3. Krishna now develops three desires. Anarpita charim chirat karunaya avatirna kalau samarpaitum unnata ujjvala rasam swabhakti shriyam hari purata sundara dviti kadamba sandipitah sadaradaya kandare spuratva sachinandana Radha Krishna pranay vikritirladhini shakti rasmad ekat manav api bhuvi puram deha bhedau gatau Chaitanyakyam prakata madhuna tadvayam chaikyamaptam radha bhavadviti suvalitam naumi Krishna swarupam. Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela, text 4, 5, 6. Chapter 1, text 4, 5, 6. Shri Krishna develops three desires in the heart. What are these three desires? First, Krishna is thinking to himself, what did Radharani see in me? What is that thing that she's seeing in me? Because she is 10 million times more qualified than me, 10 million times more skilled than me, 10 million times more beautiful than me. What is she seeing in me? Second, how does she feel when I reciprocate to her love? And finally, third, what is going on in her heart when she actually sees me face to face? So there were three desires that manifested in the heart of Krishna. First, Radharani is 10 million times more beautiful, more skilled. Then what is she actually seeing in me? What is that quality that is there in me that she doesn't have? Second, Srimati Radharani is the embodiment of Kripa. So what is going on in her heart when she is actually seeing me? And when I reciprocate to that love, how does she feel? How does she feel when I reciprocate to all the services that she does? And dear devotees, to fulfill all these three desires, our Sri Krishna Chandra of Dwapar came down as Gaurachandra in Kali Yuga to fulfill those three unfulfilled desires that Krishna had in his heart. Shachinandan Gauranga Mahaprabhu came down to fulfill the unfulfilled desires of Sri Krishna. And when he came down as Gauranga, he fulfilled all the three desires that were there in his heart. All the three desires that Krishna had, Gauranga Mahaprabhu fulfilled. And now Gauranga Mahaprabhu also developed desires. How many desires did he develop? Mahavishnu developed one desire. He came as Narsingha. Narsingha developed one desire. He came down as Ramachandra. Ramachandra developed two desires. He came as Krishna. Krishna developed three desires. He came down as Gauranga. And Gauranga developed unlimited desires in the form of giving unlimited prema to unlimited jivas of this world. This is Gauranga Mahaprabhu. He developed unlimited desires to give unlimited prema to all the jivas of this world. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, dear devotees, is the culmination. He's the crest jewel. He is the essence of all the incarnations. He is the essence of Krishna avatar. He is the essence of Ram avatar. He is the essence of Narsingha avatar. And he is the essence of even Mahavishnu. That is why Lochan Das Thakuri says, Parama Karuna Pahuduhi Jana Nitai Gaura Chandra Savavatara Sara Shiramani Kevala Ananda Kanda. He says, Parama Karuna Pahudui Jan Nitai Gaura Chandra. Nitai and Gauranga are Parama Karuna. They are the most magnanimous, most merciful lords in this age of Kali. And Sava Avatar Sar Shiramani. They are the Sar, they are the essence of all the avatars. So if someone worships Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gets the benefit of worshipping every single personality. Just like the Bhagavatam, it says, Yatha Tarur Moola Nishesha Yena in the 4th canto, that just by watering the root, Shri Krishna is satisfied. Just by worshipping Krishna, the demigods are satisfied. Similarly, dear devotees, by worshipping Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all the Vishnu Tattvas are satisfied. Because as we discussed, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the essence. He is the fulfillment of all the unfulfilled desires of all the lords and of all the ages. So, if anyone just worships Chaitanya and Nityananda in this dark age of Kali, then they should have firm faith that they are getting the benefit of worshipping every single personality. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Satye Daitya Kuladi Nash Samaye Sim Ordva Mardya Kriti Tretayam Dashakandaram Paribhavam Rameti Nama Kriti Gopalam Paripalayam Brajapure Bharam Haram Dwapare Gauranga Priya Kirtane Kaliyuge Chaitanya Nama Prabhu. The Narsingha Puran very beautifully describes Satye Daitya Kuladi Nash Samaye Sim Urdhva Martya Kriti. You see, it's almost like a transcendental rap. Satye Daitya Kuladi Nash Samaye Sim Urdhva Martya Kriti. Our Shastras are so beautiful that it has everything in it. Someone who can taste the juice of Shastra, they don't have to go anywhere else outside. It has rap, it has everything in it. So Narsingha Puran describes Satya Daitya Kuladi Nash Samaye Sim Urdhva Martya Kriti. In the age of Satya, Sim Urdhva Martya Kriti, there appeared a person from the pillar who was Simha Urdhva Martya Kriti. He was half man and half lion. So which incarnation? This is Narsingha avatar. So Satya Yuga, Narsingha appeared. And in the next Yuga was Maryada Purushottam Sri Ramachandra. In the Treta Yuga, Ramchandra appeared, while in Satya Yuga, Narsinghadev appeared. Gopalam Paripalayam Vrajapure Bharam Haram Dwapare. And in the subsequent Yuga, that is Dwapar Yuga, Gopal appeared. That is Sri Krishna. That Gopal who is the maintainer of the cows, who is the maintainer of the Goswamis, who's the maintainer of the gopis, who's the maintainer of the whole of all the inhabitants of Brajabhumi. That Gopal appeared in Dwapar Yuga. Gopalam Paripalayam Brajapure and Bharam Haram Dwapare. And the second desire, the second intention was to reduce the bhar of Dwapar, to destroy demoniac kings like Kamsa, like Shishupal, Dantavakra, Kalayavan, Jarasandh, and so many others. So he also came down to reduce the bhar of Dwapar. And finally, that Lord who in Satya comes down as Narsingha, who in Treta comes down as Ram, who in Dwapar comes down as Krishna, in Kali he comes down as Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Gauranga Priya Kirtane Kaliyuge Chaitanya Nama Prabhu. He comes down in Kali. And what is his favorite thing? Priya Kirtane. Gauranga Mahaprabhu loves Kirtan very much. Chanting of the holy names of the Supreme Lord. Speaking about Krishna is also Kirtan, while doing Kirtan with Mridanga and harmonium and kartal and other instruments, that is also Kirtan. Gauranga Priya Kirtane Kalyuge, and what is his name? Chaitanya Namha Prabhu, and his name is Chaitanya. So we should have firm faith, we should have absolutely no doubt. This should be crystal clear that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Swayam Bhagavan. He is not different from Narsingha, he is not different from Sri Ram, and he is not different from Sri Krishna. And worshipping Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives the benefit of worshipping all the Vishnu Tattvas, including Sri Krishna. So there are so many references like that in Shastra. We will discuss a few more references so that this faith is strongly established in our heart. And we have no doubt when we see Gauranga and Nityananda, whether they're actually God or whether they're Radha Krishna or whether they are coming down in the form of saints, etc. We will take a few verses that establish this fact that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Swayam Bhagavan. The Shastras, the Puranas describe Kalau Pratama Sandhyayam Bhavishyami Sachi Sutta Daru Brahma Samipasta Sannyasi Gaura Vigraha. It says Kalau Pratama Sandhyayam, in the Prathama Sandhya, in the first half of Kali, Kalau Pratama Sandhyayam Bhavishyami Sachi Sutta. In the future, in the first half of Kali, I will come down as Sachi Sutta. I will come down as the darling son of Mother Sachi. And Daru Brahma Samipasta. I will live near Daru Brahma. Daru Brahma is Jagannath. And as we know, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu lived in Jagannath Puri for 12 years. For 18 years actually, from the age of 30 till 48. Daru Brahma Samipasta Sannyasi Gaura Vigraha. And I will be a sannyasi and I will be Gaura Vigraha. I will be like a deity of gold. So this is the first reference that we find of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance that is there in the Shastra. Mahaprabhu's appearance is predicted a long time ago, right from Satyuga. So it's not the case that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came down in Kali and that's when Kaviraj Goswami got the inspiration to write. Mahaprabhu's prediction was already there in the Shastras, dear devotees. Similarly, in the Vishnu Sahasranam, it says Suvarna Varna Hemanga. Suvarna Varna Hema Anga. Hema means gold and Anga means body. Who is the person? Who is that personality who has a golden body? That is Gauranga Mahaprabhu. We see New Vrindavan is most famous for the Palace of Gold. People are so enamored by the beauty, especially if it's the first visit or first or second visit. People are so enamored by the Palace of Gold, which the disciples of Prabhupada have created for Srila Prabhupada. So just by looking at Palace of Gold, we are so awestruck. What to speak of that personality who's made up of gold? When that personality walks in front of us, what will be our situation? Just imagine if a person made of gold is coming in front of us. What will be our heart's situation? what will go on in our heart. That is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Suvarna Varna Hema Anga. He is completely made of gold, molten gold. So the point I'm reiterating is Shastra has given so many references. There are so many Shastric Praman for the appearance of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. There's another one that is very scary. Shiva is telling Parvati, as we know that Shiva has a trident, and this trident has 3 spokes in it. And now Shiva is telling Mother Parvati, dear devotees, please hear this carefully. Shiva is telling Mother Parvati, he's showing the trident, and he looks at Parvati and says, "Oh Parvati, do you know the significance of these 3 spokes?" And Mother Parvati says, "My dear Lord, please enlighten me. What is the meaning of these 3 spokes?" At that time, Lord Shiva says, the first spoke is to poke someone who thinks that Navadvip Dham and Vrindavan Dham are different. Anyone who thinks that, oh, Vrindavan is superior, oh, or Mayapur is superior, the first spoke is to poke them, which proves the point that Navadvip Dham, the appearance place of Gauranga, and Vrindavan Dham, the appearance place of Sri Krishna, are one and the same. There is no difference. It's not the case that Vrindavan is superior, nor is the case that Mayapur is superior. Both the dhams are equally glorious. So Shiva is saying this first spoke is to poke them, anyone who doubts whether any of these dhams are more glorious than the other. Second, anyone who doubts whether Gauranga is Swayam Bhagavan. Anyone who doubts whether Gauranga is Swayam Bhagavan, this second spoke is ready to poke them. And finally, Lord Shiva says, anyone who doubts whether Gauranga Mahaprabhu is a combination of Radha and Krishna. Well, he is God, but who knows whether he is the combination of Radha and Krishna? Lord Shiva says, anyone who has this doubt, my trident, my Trishul is ready to poke them, is ready to pierce them. Which only means the point Lord Shiva is saying that Navadvip Dham and Vrindavan Dham are same. Sachinandan Gauranga Mahaprabhu is Swayam Bhagavan, and Gauranga Mahaprabhu is the combination of Radha and Krishna. Radharani and Krishna have come together in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Radha Krishna Eka Atma Duhi Dehadari. Radha and Krishna are eternally one. But in Dwapar, they became 2 forms. But those 2 forms in Kali have again come down as Paramadayala Prem Purushottam Shachinandan Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not different from Radharani and Krishna, and many times he has shown this to various devotees. We see in the Rai Ramananda Samvad, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu shows the combined form. He shows him the form of Radharani and Krishna on the banks of Godavari. So to Ramananda Rai, he shows the combined form of Radharani and Krishna. He shows a 4-handed form to Nityananda Prabhu. He shows a 6-handed form to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And he also shows a universal form to Advaita Acharya. Now this is so brilliant. Advaita Acharya was once reading Bhagavad Gita. We see Advaita Acharya is so exalted. He is that personality who invoked the Supreme Lord, and he was reading Bhagavad Gita. So sometimes we have this notion that, oh, Bhagavad Gita means it's only for DYS. It's only for newcomers. I have been in this moment for many years. So Bhagavad Gita, I know Bhagavad Gita. I should go to other exalted literatures. But here Advaita Acharya is showing the point that even if you're someone as exalted as Advaita Acharya, still you can derive nectar from the mysteries of Bhagavad Gita. So Advaita Acharya was once reading Bhagavad Gita, and he was in the 11th chapter in one of those verses, and he couldn't find bhakti in that verse. In each and every verse of the 10 chapters, he could find bhakti, but in the 11th chapter, in one of those verses, Advaita Acharya could not find bhakti. And dear devotees, for 3 days and 3 nights, Advaita Acharya fasted. He did not eat anything. he did not drink anything. Why? Because he was praying to the Lord that, my dear Lord, how is it that I am not able to understand bhakti in this world, in this verse? Please enlighten me, my dear Lord. In all the 10 chapters, I could see bhakti, but in this chapter, in this one verse, I am not able to see bhakti. So when the Supreme Lord, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got to know, of course, Advaita Acharya was besieging Sri Krishna, but as we know, Krishna and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are not different. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got to know that his Advaita Acharya has not eaten anything for 3 days and 3 nights, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rushed to the house of Advaita Acharya and he said, my dear Advaita, please eat something, please drink something. And Advaita Acharya said, no, my dear Lord. Till the time I don't understand how this verse of Bhagavad Gita has bhakti in it, I will not eat anything, nor will I drink anything. So at that time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally, he fed Advaita Acharya, he gave him some water and he told him, you first eat, then I will personally tell you how this verse has bhakti in it. So when Advaita Acharya heard this, Advaita Acharya had some prasad, he drank some water, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally, he showed Advaita Acharya how that verse had bhakti in it. And because it was the 11th chapter of the Gita, dear devotees, 11th chapter is that chapter where Krishna shows the universal Virat form to Arjuna. This was that instance in Gaur Leela when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to explain the verse to Advaita Acharya, which came from the 11th chapter, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu demonstrated the Virat form, the universal form to Advaita Acharya, showing the world that he is not different from Sri Krishna. Krishna 5,000 years back showed the universal form to Arjuna, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu 500 years back showed the same form to Advaita Acharya. So the point I'm reiterating, dear devotees, is he has shown the form of Radharani and Krishna to Rai Ramananda. He has shown a 4-handed form to Nityananda Prabhu. He has shown a 6-handed form to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And he has shown a universal Virat form to Advaita Acharya, only to show, only to demonstrate, only to illustrate this point that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is non-different than Swayam Bhagavan Shri Krishna. So this should dispel all the doubts that are there in our mind that whether Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is God or whether he is Radha and Krishna. There should be absolutely no doubt, no tinge of doubt in our head that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the culmination of all the incarnations. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, sometimes he in the mood of Varahadev, just like Varahadev picked up Mother Earth. Similarly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the mood of Varahadev, he would pick up water pots and he would roar like a wild boar, just like Varahadev would roar. He would pick up water pots and he would run around the streets of Navadvip. And sometimes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would be in the mood of Narsinghadev. There are so many instances, dear devotees, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has demonstrated this mood of Narsingha, or he has shown a strong connection with Narsinghadev. But before we dive into that, there is a very interesting question. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Radharani and Krishna. He's in the mood of Radha Bhav. As we discussed, he's in the mood of Radha Bhava Dviti Suvalitam. He is Swayam Radharani. So why is it that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would love the pastime of Prahlad and Narsingha? He would love so much that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it is said, would hear the pastime of Prahlad and Narsingha 108 times. That is how much Chaitanya Mahaprabhu loved the pastime. Sometimes when we flip the pages of Bhagavatam, we see, oh, Putana, I know this story. Oh, Trinavarta, I know this story. Oh, Shakatasura, I know this story. Oh, this pastime, I know. Gajendra, I know. Prayers of Queen Kuti, I know. We just keep flipping pages after reading 1 or 2 times. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, 108 times he would hear the pastime of Prahlad and Narsingha. Now, this is a very important question. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in the mood of Radharani. So ideally, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu should be hearing Gopi Geet, Brahmar Geet, Vira Geet, Ras Leela, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu should be hearing all these topics, but why is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu leaving all that to the side and hearing about Prahlad and Narsingha? How do we understand this? So this question was asked to my worshipable spiritual master Srila Radha Govinda Maharaj. And Radha Govinda Maharaj gave a very beautiful answer as to why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is hearing this pastime multiple times. Srila Guru Maharaj said, he gave an example that suppose there is a mother who has 4 children and she has a mango in her hand and all the 4 children are hungry. So will the mother eat the mango herself first? She will not. An ideal mother would be someone who would feed her children and then she would eat whatever is left out. So Maharaj was making this point. Just for example, if there is a mother who has 4 children and the mother has mango in her hand, an ideal mother is someone who would give the mango to the first child. The first child will eat the mango and give it back to the mother. Now the mango is already sweet, but now it also has the remnants of the first child. So the mango, the taste has become more sweeter. But now will the mother have? No. She will take that mango and give it to the second child. Now the second child will eat that mango and the second child will give it back to the mother. Now will the mother have? No, she will again not have. And now interestingly, the mango which is already sweet, it has become more sweet because it has been tasted by two of her children. Now the mother will take the mango and give it to the third son. The third son will eat the mango and give it back to the mother. And likewise, again, she will take the mango and give it to the fourth child. And the fourth child will eat the mango and give it back to the mother. And now the mango, which is already sweet, the sweetness has heightened. It has increased because it has been tasted by all 4 children. And now when it comes back to the mother, she gets more juice from that mango. That mango becomes more sweet for that mother. And Maharaj was giving this example and he said, this is exactly what is happening in the case of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he's hearing this, he's in the mood of Radharani, like a mother. And this pastime is the only pastime in Srimad Bhagavatam that has been spoken by 4 personalities. The teachings of Prahlad Maharaj is the only chunk, it's the only section of Srimad Bhagavatam that is spoken by 4 personalities. First, Prahlad Maharaj spoke to his friends. The instructions, Prahlad Maharaj spoke to his friends. Second, Narad Muni speaks the same thing to Yudhishthir Maharaj. Third, Shukadev Goswami speaks the same thing to Parikshit Maharaj. And finally, Suta Goswami speaks the same thing to Shaunakadi Rishi in Naimisharanya. So the instructions of Prahlad Maharaj, I repeat, it's the only section of Srimad Bhagavatam that is spoken by 4 personalities. Prahlad to his friends, Narada to Yudhishthir Maharaj, Shukadev Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj, and Suta Goswami to Shaunakadi Rishi. And Maharaj was saying, for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is in the mood of Radharani, like a mother, this section is already sweet. But now, because it has been discussed by 4 personalities who are like 4 children of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the form of Prahlad, Narada, Shukha, and Suta Goswami, now the juice, now the taste of Prahlad Charitra has just increased. And now when it comes to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Mahaprabhu experiences so much joy, so much bliss in hearing this. And Maharaj said, this is the reason why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would hear this pastime of Prahlad Maharaj 108 times and not spend a lot of time in the Ras Leela section. Of course, he would hear that section also, but that was in the Gambhira. But Mahaprabhu would spend a lot of time hearing this section of Prahlad Charitra. So in this way, Prahlad Narsingha pastime is very dear to the heart of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now there is another interesting question that arises here. We are worshippers of Radha and Krishna, which means our goal is Golok Vrindavan, our goal is Madhurya Prem. Then isn't worshipping Narsinghadev Rasabhas? Because Narsinghadev is the form of Raudra and he is in Vaikunta. And our aim, what Rupa Goswami is giving, is Goloka Vrindavan. Radha and Krishna are our worshipable lords. So isn't worshipping Nrsingadev Rasabhas because he's in the mood of Raudra, anger, while Radha and Krishna are Saumya Bhav, they're more Shant. So how do we understand this? And this question, dear devotees, was asked to Pankajangri Prabhu. And there is no one who could answer this question better than Pankajangri Prabhu. That personality who has spent his whole life serving and worshipping Nrsingadev in Mayapur. So when this question was asked to Pankajangri Prabhu gave a very beautiful reply. Pankajangri Prabhu said, when the Brajavasis had a problem, whom did they go to? The Brajavasis did not go to Krishna when they had problems. So then whom did they go to? And Pankajangri Prabhu said, when the Brajavasis had a problem, they did not go to Krishna, but they went to Haridas Avarya Giriraj. Whenever they would have problems, they would go to Giriraj and Giriraj would solve their problems. So when the Brajavasis had a problem, they went to Giriraj. And likewise, when the Navadvipvasis had a problem, they did not go to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They did not go to Nityananda Prabhu. But when the Navadvipvasis had a problem, they went to Nrsingadev. So the Navadvipvasis, when they had a problem, they went to Nrsingadev, while the Brajavasis, when they had a problem, they went to Giriraj. And Pankajangri Prabhu said, in this way, we can reconcile that worshipping Nrsingadev is not Rasabhas, but it is in line with our Gaudiya Siddhanta, because this is what Navadvipvasis did when they had a problem, while the Brajavasis would pray to Giriraj when they had a problem. So in this way, we understand that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has a very, very, very strong connection with Nrsingadev. And in the next few minutes, dear devotees, I will give 5 instances. I will discuss 5 instances from the Chaitanya Charitamrita that demonstrate, that illustrate this point, that how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in different circumstances demonstrated this mood of Nrsingadev. The first, how did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu come down to this world? It was by the call of Advaita Acharya. As we discussed yesterday, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is coming down to taste the fruit. Gadadhar is helping him taste the fruit. Nityananda Prabhu is distributing that fruit, but it is Advaita Acharya who invited Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who invoked the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this dark age of Kali. So who is invoking them down? Advaita Acharya. Advaita Acharya would worship his Shaligram, and he would pray to the Lord that, my dear Lord, in the province of Nadia, Shastra is being used in the wrong context. Instead of going deep in Shastra, instead of going deep on this path of bhakti, everyone is using Shastra for tarka and kutarka. They're using Shastra for arguments and battles and debates. My dear Lord, it's high time you have to come down to establish the real dharma for this age, the Kali Yuga dharma, Harinam Sankirtan dharma, which is the eternal Prem dharma, the Jaiva dharma for this age. So it was Advaita Acharya who invoked the Lord, and he was worshipping the Shaligram. Tulsi dalamatrena jalasya chulukenava vikriditam swa atmanam bhaktebhyo vaktavatsalaha. The Gautamiya Tantra describes that anyone who worships Shaligram with Ganga water and Tulsi leaves, Krishna gives a promise that he sells himself to that devotee. Advaita Acharya said, my dear Lord, you have promised in the Gautamiya Tantra that anyone who worships Shaligram with Ganga water and Tulsi leaves, you sell yourself to them. My dear Lord, I am worshipping you with Ganga water and Tulsi leaves. Why don't you descend? Dear devotees, my question is, what was that Shaligram that Advaita Acharya was worshipping? It was a Narsingha Shaligram. Advaita Acharya was worshipping a Narsingha Shaligram, and it was that Narsingha Shaligram that invoked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to this world. So we find that even before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance, he has a very strong connection with Nrsingadev in the form of Advaita Acharya Shaligram. Second, our Shrivas, Shrivas, as we know, there would be beautiful Shrivas Angan Kirtans in the courtyard, in the Angan, which is the courtyard of Shrivas. There would be beautiful Kirtans in that courtyard. After Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Gaya and took initiation from Ishwarapuri, there was a complete transformation in the life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That Nimai Pandit, who was argumentative, who would battle Keshav Kashmiri, who would spend hours and hours and hours in front of Kolaveta Sridhar in trying to reduce the price of the banana leaves. That same Nimai Pandit, after he went to Gaya and took initiation, he was very saumya, he was very pacified, he was very calm. There was a complete paradigm shift. It was from one extreme of the spectrum to another extreme of the spectrum. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would lead the kirtans in Shrivas Angan. So when he would lead the kirtans in Shrivas Angan, the sound of the mridanga and the sound of the kartals was so high that the Muslims and the Hindus had a problem. Now, as we know, the kirtans would go on at night time when people would sleep. So the Muslims anyway had a problem. But the Hindus also had a problem. Why? Because the Hindus, they would say that this is the time of Chaturmas. And Chaturmas, as we know, is that time when Vishnu sleeps. And now if you bang the mridangas and you clang the kartals so loudly, it is possible that Vishnu would wake up. And if you disturb Mahavishnu from his sleep, it is possible that he will get up and he will curse all of you all. So because of your kirtans, we will get the curse. We will become the recipients of that curse. So the Hindus had a problem, and likewise Muslims anyway had a problem with Shrivas. So both the parties, Hindu and Muslim, they had a problem with Shrivas, and they were thinking as to how they can stop these kirtans. So what they did was they went to Shrivas one day and they said, because we have told you so many times and you're not listening to us, you're not stopping the kirtans at night. So we have told the king, we have complained to the king, and now the king has sent his ministers. The ministers, oh Shrivas, the ministers are on their way to kill you. They are there with the swords to kill you. We told you so many times, but you didn't listen. So we went and complained to the king, and now the king has sent his ministers. And when Shrivas heard this, he was so scared. He did not think that they are playing a trick on him. He was so straightforward. As they say in Hindi, Saralata hi Vaishnavata. The quality of Vaishnav is he is very straightforward. He has no duplicity. He has no hypocrisy. So when Shrivas heard this, Shrivas became so scared. He closed the door, and inside he was praying to the Lord that, my dear Lord, please protect me. Please protect me. The king has sent his ministers to kill me. And I am at night only singing your glories. My dear Lord, you protect me. He said, my dear Lord, in the Bhagavad Gita, you yourself has made this point that Kshipram bhavati dharmatma kshashvam shantim nigachati kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashati. Chapter 9, text 31 Gita. Shiva said, my dear Lord, you have made this promise that my devotee never perishes. My dear Lord, I am in that state that if you do not protect me, it's possible that I may perish. My dear Lord, please protect me. Dear devotees, the Shaligram that Shrivas was worshipping at that time for his protection was none other than a Narsingha Shaligram. It was a Narsingha Shaligram that she was worshipping at that time. And he was praying to Narsinghadev that, my dear Lord, please protect. The way you protect Prahlad Maharaj from Hiranyakashipu, my dear Lord, this servant of yours is besieging you. Please protect me. At that time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was on the banks of Ganga, and he was in the mood of Shama Sundar Shri Krishna. So he was looking at the banks of Ganga and he was remembering Yamuna. He was seeing the cows and calves and he was remembering Vrindavan. So Mahaprabhu was completely convinced that he's in Vrindavan. But when he heard the call of Shrivas, Because at the end of the day, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is there as Paramatma in the heart of everyone. So he understood that Srivas was in a problem and Srivas is calling. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got to know, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stormed to the house of Srivas and he started banging the door of Srivas. He started banging the door of Srivas, and from outside, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Srivas, open the door. Open the door, Srivas, open the door. That Lord whom you are worshipping inside is standing outside for your protection. Oh, Srivas, open the door. And when Srivas heard this, initially he became scared because when the door was being banged, he thought that it is the ministers who have reached to kill him. So Srivas became very scared. So when he heard that it is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying that it is that he's in the form of the Supreme Lord, he was completely bewildered. And even before Srivas could open the door, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the mood of Narsinghadev, he broke open the door and went inside. And he said, Oh Srivas, please don't worry. The Narsingha whom you are worshipping in the form of Shaligram is standing here for your protection. No king, no ministers, no one can cause harm to my devotees. Oh Srivas, don't worry. You carry on with your bhajan. I am there to protect you. Let me see who has that courage to come and to cause any harm to you. So when Srivas heard this, Srivas was bewildered. He was thinking, wait a minute. When it came to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, no, the Jiva should never say he's God. Mayavada Bhashya Shunilo Hoilo Sarvanash. The Jiva can never be God. So Srivas was thinking to himself, the same Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he declares that the Jiva cannot be God, and look at him. He is loudly proclaiming that he's God. What has happened to him? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu understood what is going on in the heart of Srivas. And when Srivas was thinking like this, in no time, dear devotees, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu developed facial hair. He developed nails. He started growing in size. He started getting a mukut. And he became half man, half lion. And he was roaring. His eyes were emitting fire. His mouth was emitting fire. His ears were emitting fire in the form of Narsinghadev. And he was standing in the same form of Narsinghadev in front of Srivas, and he looked at Srivas and said, Srivas, do you still have any doubt that I am that same Narsinghadev? When Srivas saw this, he was completely perplexed. He was completely bewildered. He fell at the feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was in the mood of Narsinghadev. He said, my dear Lord, I am sorry. I couldn't understand. I couldn't realize this form of yours. So Narsinghadev, who was present there in the form of Chaitanya, became so happy. He told Srivas that, my dear Srivas, call all your family members. I want to bless all of them. So Srivas called all their family members and the Supreme Lord blessed all of them. So there are two good things that happened in this pastime. First, Srivas and his family got the protection of Narsinghadev, while at the same time they got the mercy, they got the prema feature of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So two good things happened in this pastime. So this was the second instance where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed that he is not different from Narsinghadev, or he showed a strong connection to Narsinghadev. Third instance, dear devotees, it is again in connection to Srivas. Srivas was celebrating the Shraddha ceremony. Srivas' father had departed this world, and Srivas was celebrating Shraddha ceremony, and all the exalted devotees were invited, including Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was standing, and Srivas asked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that, my dear Lord, this is the Shraddha ceremony for my father. What am I supposed to chant? Please instruct me how I should celebrate. And at that time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he says that first chant the Vishnu Sahasranam prayers, which is the Brihad Sahasranam, which is the Vishnu Sahasranam prayers, 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu. So these names were being chanted. And when these names were being chanted, at one point, Srivas happened to take the term, he chanted the name Narsingha. And when he chanted the name Narsingha, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became so ecstatic. He started jumping in the air. Now we know Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is 7 foot. He's 7 feet in height. And now a 7 feet person is jumping in the air. And that too, this is the Shraddha ceremony. So we can understand that it's a complete difference of mood, because that is Shraddha is that ceremony where people are in a mood of shock. And here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is jumping in the air by hearing Narsinghadev. And in no time, dear devotees, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu developed 16 hands. He became Shodasa Bahu Narsingha, 16-handed Narsinghadev, and he was running in the streets of Navadvip. Now just imagine, dear devotees, that if we step outside and a 6 feet person comes charging in front of us, he may not have any weapons, but out of no reason, if he comes charging in front of us, we'll be very scared. We'll be very bewildered. So what to speak of that person who has weapons in his hand? Here was the Supreme Lord as Narsinghadev, not with one hand, not with 5 hands, but with 16 hands. And we know what Narsinghadev can do with the tip of the nail of his 2 hands. With the nail of his 2 hands, he ripped apart Hiranyakashipu. So here, he was not having 2 hands, but he was having 16 hands with nails in all the hands. And so much so that he had weapons in all the hands in the form of arrow. He had a bow, he had a sword, he had a gadha, and he was charging the streets of Navadvip Dham. So at that time, all the Navadvip Vasis, when they saw this, they were scared, and they went inside their house, because a half man, half lion with weapons was charging in the streets just by hearing the term Narsingha. And the most baffling thing is, dear devotees, Narsinghadev, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the mood of Narsingha, performed this Leela for 1.5 hours. For 1.5 hours, he was running on the streets, and all this, dear devotees, during the time of a Shraddha ceremony. And after 1.5 hours, he came back to the house of Srivas. He came to the house of Srivas, and looking at the eyes of Srivas, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu understood that it is time for him to get back to the mood of Lord Chaitanya. So he came back to the mood of Chaitanya from the mood of Narsinghadev. And Srivas, when he looked at Chaitanya Mahaprabhu looked at Srivas, and Mahaprabhu said, "My dear Srivas, I am really sorry. I am extremely sorry. What to do? The name of Narsingha is so dear to my heart that just when you chanted the name of Narsingha, I became ecstatic. So I am extremely sorry, Srivas." And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came back to his form of Chaitanya. Ajanubaho, hands extending up to his knees. So dear devotees, this was the 3rd instance in Gaur Leela where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed a very strong connection with Narsinghadev. The 4th and the very famous one, the pastime of Chand Kazi. As we know, Chand Kazi was against the Sankirtan movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And at that time, when he stopped all the processions, that night, Narsinghadev came in his dream. Narsinghadev came in his dream, and he was sitting on the chest of Chand Kazi, and he was ripping apart his chest. He was causing scratch marks, nail marks. He was ripping apart. And in the dream, Chand Kazi could see Narsinghadev was saying that, "Who are you to stop the Sankirtan movement of Gauranga Mahaprabhu?" Gauranga Mahaprabhu is the crest jewel of all incarnations. And this Sankirtan movement is the eternal Prem Dharma, the Dharma for this age of Kali. So Narsinghadev in the dream was sitting on the chest of Chand Kazi and was trying to rip him apart. The next day, when Chand Kazi got up and he opened his cloth, there were nail marks of Narsinghadev, complete nail marks of Narsinghadev. And Chand Kazi understood that if he tries to stop the Sankirtan movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it's only a matter of time that the Supreme Lord will rip him apart, just like he ripped Hiranyakashipu apart. So immediately the next day he went to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and fell at the feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and said, "My dear Lord, I'm extremely sorry. But last night Narsinghadev came in my dream and he taught me a very good lesson. And I am extremely sorry. Please continue the Sankirtan movement. I will make sure no one stops you in this endeavor." So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard this, he became very happy. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Oh Chand Kazi, can I tell you something?" And Chand Kazi said, "Yes, my dear Lord, please tell me." Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "I have two things to tell you. The first, do you know who you are?" And Chand Kazi said, "No, my dear Lord, please enlighten me. Who am I?" And Chand Kazi said, "In my previous incarnation," Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I'm sorry. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, in my previous incarnation, I came as Brajendranandan Krishna. And oh Chand Kazi, you were that same Kamsa. That Kamsa who was my mama in my previous incarnation. When I have now come down as Gauranga Mahaprabhu, oh Chand Kazi, you have come as you have appeared as the incarnation of Kamsa Maharaj. So Chand Kazi was completely awestruck when he heard this. He was completely bewildered. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Can I tell you something more interesting?" And Chand Kazi said, "Yes, my dear Lord." And at that time, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, very emphatically, he said, "That personality who came in your dream last night to rip apart your chest in the form of Narsinghadev is not different from me. I came in the form of Narsingha to teach you a lesson, to teach you a strong point that anyone who tries to stop the Sankirtan movement in Kali, I as Narsinghadev will rip them apart, just like I ripped apart Hiranyakashipu." So this was the fourth instance, dear devotees, where the Supreme Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stored a very strong connection with Narsinghadev. And finally, to wrap up our discussion, the fifth and the last instance where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed his connection with Narsingha was Advaita Acharya had a few sons. And one of those sons, their name was Gopal Das. One of the sons of Advaita Acharya, his name was Gopal Das. And in one of the Sankirtan pastimes, Gopal Das happened to faint. He was dancing so ecstatically that he happened to faint and he fell down to the ground. So at that time, Advaita Acharya, he was praying to the Supreme Lord. He was praying to the same Narsingha Shaligram. And he said, "My dear Lord, please protect my son. Seems like my son has fainted. Please protect him." At that time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stormed into the house of Advaita Acharya. And he looked at Advaita Acharya and said, "Advaita, what is it that I can do for you?" And when Advaita Acharya heard this, he said, "Wait a minute. How did you get to know that my son has fainted? I never told you. How did you get to know?" So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Very interesting. You worship me. You worship a Narsingha Shaligram who is not different from me. You tell him all the problems. And when I come to solve your problems, you are asking me as to how I got to know." So then Advaita Acharya understood. And that was the fifth instance where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed a very strong connection, or he demonstrated the Narsingha aspect of him. So there are various instances, dear devotees, where Chaitanya Charitamrita and Chaitanya Bhagavat describe where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in the mood of Narsingha. And not just in the mood of Narsingha. There are instances where he has taken the form of Varaha. There are instances where he has taken the form of Kurma. There are instances where he has taken the form of Matsya. He becomes Gaur Varaha, Gaur Narsimha, Gaur Matsya, Gaur Kurma. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is showing the point to the world that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the essence. He is the completion of all the unfulfilled desires of all the lords, and he is the main avatar of Kali Yuga. Just by worshipping Kali, just by worshipping Gauranga Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu in Kali, we get all the benefits that the Jiva is hankering for. So in this way, dear devotees, Narsinghadev and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu have a very strong connection. And to wrap up with the same point that Pankajangri Prabhu said, for the Brajavasis, when they have a problem, they go to Giriraj for protection. And when the Navadvip Vasis, the worshippers of Chaitanya Nityananda, when they have a problem, they go to Narsinghadev for protection, who is not different from Gauranga Mahaprabhu himself. So in this way, I stop our discussion for today. And this is also the last class of our seminar of this 2 days of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita and Chaitanya Bhagavat, meditating on the beautiful pastimes of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Just to wrap up, if there were any flaws, any mistakes, anything that I said that is apasiddhanta or not in line with our Shastra, I beg forgiveness from all the devotees. I am a conditioned soul, and I'm just 25 years of age, so it is bound that I will make mistakes. But as Saragrahi Vaishnavas, if there is anything that I can ask for, is to please forgive me and to always keep me in your prayers so that I can serve all the devotees of New Vrindavan once again to the best of my ability by discussing the pastimes of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Bhagavan. Having said this, I very humbly stop here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.